I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. And as you can listen to some of these birds singing around here, and it just reminded me about how you could be somewhere that you don't want to be, and yet you can find some enjoyment in it in terms of whatever it is that you may feel that you're stuck as a mother, as someone that's constantly pouring into other people. You may feel as if no one is paying you any attention. They don't know what you're going through. They have no idea what you may be feeling at the time when it comes to your life and some of the things that you have going on in your life. You may feel as if people don't understand you, they don't get you, because you may need a break from all of the things that weigh you down, that has you feeling that you're responsible for everyone. And you may feel as if that responsibility is an enormous amount that weighs upon you, that it requires all of your time and dedication to it. But some of the things that we can find out, and she says that I know why the cage bird sings. I had never read the book, but something that just came over me about it is it says that the book chronicles her life from age 3 through age 16, recounting an unsettled and sometimes traumatic childhood that included rape and racism. It became one of the most widely read and taught books written by an African American woman. It says that the prelude describes an event in which Dr. Angelo, as a small child, is reciting a poem in church, feeling ugly because she imagined in vain that the dress her grandmother made her would be so pretty that she would be seen as a beautiful white child. She forgets the poem and then wets her pants as she flees the church in embarrassment. The story begins in 1931 as Maya, age 3, and her elder brother, Bailey, are sent to Stamps, Arkansas, to live with their paternal grandmother, whom they call Mama, after their parents break up. Mama owns the only store in the African American part of town. The children settle into life with Mama, helping her at the store and learning to read and do arithmetic. One night, a former sheriff one night, a former sheriff warns Mama to hide her disabled son because white men are planning revenge after a black man messed with a white woman. Later, a group of young white girls ridicule Mama while she stands dignified and unmoving outside the store. When the Great Depression hits, Mama keeps the store from going under by allowing customers to trade their rations for goods. One Christmas, Maya and Bailey received gifts from their parents, whom they assumed to be dead. A year later, their father, Daddy Bailey, arrives in a fancy car, and he takes Maya and Bailey to St. Louis to live with their mother, the beautiful Vivian. At first, they stay with Vivian's mother and their uncles. At school, Maya and her brother are more advanced than the other students, and they are moved up a grade. Later, the children move in with Vivian and her brother, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Freeman begins molesting 8-year-old Maya, threatening to kill Bailey if she tells anyone. One day, he rapes her and she conceals her stained underwear under the mattress. When changing the linens, Bailey and Vivian find the garment and realize what happened. During Mr. Freeman's trial, Maya lies when asked whether he touched her before the rape. Later, Mr. Freeman is found dead, apparently having been beaten to death. Feeling guilty, Maya stops speaking to anyone except Bailey. After a few months of her silence, Maya and Bailey are sent back to Mommy. Maya is relieved to be back in Stamps, but she continues her silence. Eventually, the sophisticated Mrs. Bertha Flowers takes Maya under her wing, excuse me, telling her that it is important to speak and giving her books to read aloud. As she begins talking again, at the age of 10, Maya is sent to work for a white woman who calls her Mary, rather than her name, Margarita. Offended, Maya breaks some china in order to get fired. Later, Bailey is upset when he sees a movie starring Kay Francis because he thinks the actress looks just like Vivian, and he makes an unsuccessful attempt to return to his mother. Maya later makes her first friend, Louise Kendricks, a girl from school. During this time, Maya continues to encounter racism. When she develops cavities, Mommy takes her to the white dentist who borrowed money from Mommy during the Depression, but he refuses to treat the child, and they have to take a bus to the closet. They have to take a bus to be excuse me, and they have to take a bus to the closest black dentist. Bailey later sees the decaying corpse of a black man pulled out of a pond, and a white man makes him help some black men carry the body into the jail. After the incident, Mommy decides to take Maya and Bailey back to their mother. Maya and Bailey move with their mother to Oakland, California. There, Maya attends a school in which she is one of only three black students. When she is 14 years old, she is awarded a scholarship to the California Labor School, where she studies drama and dance. Vivian's new husband, Daddy Clydell, becomes a genuine father figure to Maya. Maya spends a summer in Southern California with Daddy Bailey and his girlfriend, Dolores. Dolores and Maya do not get along. One day, Daddy Bailey takes Maya with him on a shopping trip to Mexico. Maya enjoys the excursion until she loses track of her father, who eventually returns to their car, too drunk to drive. Although she has never driven before, Maya manages to drive them to the border where she hits another car. At this point, Daddy Bailey wakes up, pacifies the other driver, and then drives the rest of the way home. Upon their return, Daddy Bailey and Dolores argue, and he walks out. Maya tries to console Dolores, but Dolores insults Vivian, leading Maya to slap her. Dolores then cuts Maya, who decides to run away. After spending a night in a junkyard, she awakens to find a community of black, white, and Mexican runaways living there. She stays for a month and then returns to Vivian. In the meantime, Bailey has become friends with a group of slick street boys and began dating a white prostitute. At the age of 16, he leaves home to his sister's great sorrow. Maya browbeats the transit company into hiring her as the first female African American streetcar conductor in San Francisco. However, after spending one semester at the job, she returns to school. She later reads the lesbian novel The Well of Loneliness, 1928, by Radcliffe Hall, and misunderstanding what lesbianism is, she begins to fear that she might be a lesbian. Though Vivian tries to reassure her she is not a scold, a scod, as she determines she have sex, as she determines to have sex with the boy. The encounter is unpleasant and it results in Maya becoming pregnant. On Bailey's advice, she keeps the news to herself and returns to school. After graduating from high school, Maya tells Vivian and Daddy Clydell, who are fully supportive. After Guy is born, Vivian assures Maya that she will be a good mother. And so, one of the things that is saying the legacy, the book, oh, that's a different book. And so, one of the things that I believe that, as I say, I haven't ever read it before. And so, as I was reading that, some of the things that caused her to be silent was the fact that she had gotten raped. Another thing was is that she was particular about who she spoke with as a weapon of choice, being able to have the dominion over her own personhood to be able to speak when she wanted to, as this was something very traumatic that happened to her that caused her to clam up, to not speak to anyone. And so, some of the things that can happen in our own lives is that we can find the truth within us that helps us to be able to know how to speak up when we need to, when it comes to, I know why the cage bird sings, as she was able to find, the noise, as she was able to find herself again through all of the turmoil, through all of the ways in which life happened to her against her will, being raped is something that happened to her that was not her fault. And yet it caused her to have this silence over a long period of time, that she remained silent. I believe that happened to Aretha Franklin also in the story, where she also didn't talk for a long time. And so, as a young girl, this is something that was traumatic that she experienced, and it caused her to go mute. And so, for many, when something like this happens, I can only imagine that it gives you a certain amount of autonomy over your own personhood. And she was 8 years old when she was being raped and molested. And so, again, that is something that happened to her that she just closed up. And she lied in terms of wanting to be able to cover up. She was feeling guilty. She stopped speaking to anyone. And that guilt is something that actually caused her to stay silent for a few months. And so, this is something that happened to her. And it says that she began talking again at the age of 10. So it was 2 years. So it happened at 8, and she started talking again at 10. And so clearly, this was something that overwhelmed her. And we all can be overwhelmed by something that happens in our lives that is not our fault, as we carry on a lot of the guilt, as I was raped before. And to carry on that guilt of someone else doing something to me is not my